Hello, isn't that countdown annoying? Welcome to the PanelCast. I'm your host AJ, and I'm joined this week by Justin as usual. Hello,
Hello.
Justin.
Hello there.
And we have a special guest this week, Mr. Rick. I can't pronounce your last name. How are you, sir?
I'm pretty good. And it's Rick Gualtieri, although if you ask me 3 times, I'll probably pronounce it 3 different ways.
Awesome, because every time I pronounce it differently as well. We thought we'd have Rick come in here this week so we can interview him and give him a hard time. Because apparently he thinks he's like an author or something.
I never claimed that.
It says somewhere on these confounded novels that have your name on it that you're an author somewhere. I'm not sure. You write a little story called Bill the Vampire. Isn't that correct?
Yes. In fact, Bill, I kind of went against the grain. They usually tell you, okay, your first 10 novels should go in a trunk and everybody should see it. But I didn't know what the hell I was doing. So Bill the Vampire is actually my first novel. And oddly enough, it's been my most successful.
Well, can you tell us a little bit about it? Look, I've been spouting about it here on the show and to all my friends for years, but again, it's better coming from you. So, could you tell us a little bit about it?
So let me ask, what rating are we? So I know what to or to not sprinkle in that description.
We are rated kids. You
Okay.
know, kids
Right.
fuck you friendly.
Okay. That is fair enough.
Right.
You started saying kids. I was like, what? We are?
Right.
Shit, I'm in trouble.
We're all
My brain was switching over to PG mode.
We're 1982 movies mode. How's that?
Wow, that's harsh. All right, so Bill the Vampire is the story of a nerdy D&D playing asshole who tries to hook up with the wrong woman, and it goes badly for him, and he ends up a vampire. Now, the thing is, Bill's not a normal vampire. It turns out he's got a few extra powers, but that doesn't really help him too much because, one, he sucks at it, and two, all the other vampires kind of hate him and, well, want him really dead. So that's kind of, I guess, the general, the general gist of it. I've been telling people basically it's like Bram Stoker meets The Big Bang Theory, but that's kind of like the PG version. It's more like Bram Stoker meets Superbad.
Yeah, I agree with that. Um, I love the series. I've got all of them back here, in case you can't see.
Yep.
In fact, if you want to cyber autograph them right now, that'd be awesome. Done. That's all I need. Thanks.
I have my handwriting sucks as it is, so like I love the fact that my author autograph is essentially almost like a straight line at this point.
Justin, I made Justin listen to your first book.
Well, you didn't make me, but I did. I did just listen to it. They had a cool deal on Audible where I got the whole Bill series for credit. So I listened to the first book, and then I'm going to get on to the next ones too.
Oh, cool. See, Audible never tells me these things.
Oh,
like
yeah.
I usually have to hear from people. Oh, I got your book on sale. It was on sale. Like
Right.
Tell us nothing.
That's crazy.
As opposed
No,
to,
yeah, I just
book?
finished it this week.
What did you think about it, Justin?
Well,
To his face.
Be brutal. Good.
Tell him to his face what you thought about it.
No, it was cool. I like the setup. I like the universe. I'm interested in seeing things where things are going, because like, I mean, I don't know how much I should talk about what happens in the book. I don't want to spoil stuff, but certain characters were away out of town, and we don't know what happened to them yet. And I'm really interested in finding out more of the. I'm a big nerd for the world building, so I'm interested in finding out more about the organization and like just the whole world in general. So yeah.
Well, I will definitely say that book 2, like book 1 is always like an introduction to the world, the characters and stuff, but it's usually kind of a small story. And book 2 is one of those ones where you expand on the world building, and I love book 2 because it's pretty much batshit.
Awesome, cool. Looking forward to it. Yeah, I like there was just enough to keep the story centered, but there was enough little tendrils spreading off that made you interested. Like the whole thing with his dungeon master, the doctor. They
Yep.
have this whole deal where so I'm really interested in seeing what happens with that. And yeah, so yeah, it's got a lot of cool stuff. I'm looking forward to just finding out about.
Yeah, Dave's a fun character because
Yeah,
like
yeah,
he's one of those characters that really has like no redeeming qualities.
yeah. Right on.
Remind me again, is Dave the one that ends up in the pocket?
In the pocket.
Yeah, I don't want to give too much away, but I remember one of Bill's friends ends up in a pocket.
Oh no, nope, different, totally different. I won't say the name, but nope, that's not him.
Okay.
Whole different bad things happen to Dave. And that's not even a spoiler because literally bad things happen to every single character.
Right. Yeah.
And the thing that I have fun with this is I've always looked at Bill as kind of like Ash from Army of Darkness, in
Mhm.
that he's technically a hero of the series, but he's not really a hero. And a
Right.
lot of the crap that happens to him is really his own stupid fault.
Right.
For sure.
I love how he's just like he's like us, we're like out of shape. We're not exactly, gonna win any modeling contests or anything like that.
Well, that's how
And
Bill the Vampire started off because I have a real life D&D group that I play with. I've played with them for like 20 some odd years, and Bill originally started off. I guess if you ever read Robert Bevan's Caverns and Creatures series, the idea behind Bill started off very similar to that. Like, what if a group of just asshole players got sucked into the game? But then I was like, well, what if it was like, like just jackass players, but they discovered monsters were real in the real world? How would they handle that?
right.
Right.
So like almost a Jumanji.
Yeah. So Bill and his roommates are kind of an amalgam of my my this group I actually play with.
Right. No, that's another thing I like too is when he told his friends, they were like, "Oh, okay, well that makes sense," because we're, as like gamers and whatever, we're so used to that world. It's like, okay, we're not so surprised that some of that is real.
Well, that's the thing. It's like one thing I've always liked the X-Men movies, but one thing that always drives me nuts is the whole like concept of like of your best friends with somebody and they're like, well, I have to let you know I'm a mutant. Suddenly you're calling the cops on them, and I'm like, no, friends don't do that.
Right.
Friends are like, oh wait, you can melt walls with your eyeballs. We're gonna play with that shit.
Yeah.
Right. Why is what? Take down the shower walls now.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, I thought that was very, very relatable and how it would actually happen if one of my friends actually said, "Hey, I'm a vampire." I'd be like, "Oh shit, that's cool."
It's like, are you gonna bite me? No. Okay, let's have some fun with this.
Right, exactly.
Right.
I mean, I've gotten a little bit of flack over the years because some people are like, well, Bill and his roommates are like, they're kind of similar to each other. And I'm like, well, yeah. It's a common like sitcom trope that like, okay, the nerd is friends with the beautiful girl and the football player. And I'm like, but in real life, does that really happen? No. It's
No.
like people gravitate towards people who are like them. That's why
Right,
it kind of like works.
right,
And yes, everybody has their own quirks and stuff, but generally speaking, I want to hang out with people who are into the same thing as I am.
right. Yeah, I'm the same way. I've got like a large D&D group we've been playing together for a long time, and it's the same thing. If one of it, we all are into the same stuff. We all have our different little variant specialties.
Mm.
But yeah, if one of us came up, we're like, "Hey, I've got superpowers," you'd be like, "Oh crap, cool," Yeah.
Yeah,
Like
the
one
first
of
thing would
you
be like,
guys
you're a
came over
liar,
to my
prove it.
house. If one of you guys came over to my house and tried to touch one of my Transformers, I mean, you're just gonna burn anyway. But if you actually do start to burn, then we're gonna have to talk.
Oh my
Right.
God, I have the original like MP1 Optimus Prime, and like when my children were younger, I was trying to get them into it. So I was like, "Oh, hey, you want to play with Optimus Prime?" And like, my old was just like, "Yeah, started using it as a hammer." I was like, "Give me that back!"
Right.
Never mind.
That's when you use him as a hammer.
Yeah. And at that point, it's like something. One day, Daddy will die, and he'll leave this behind. But these are all being buried with Daddy, so you're never getting them.
Right. Right. Well, my kid grew up and he's like gone, and he has 6 kids, and so they get all his toys. So now I get all my toys, and they're coming with me when I go. And that includes, if you look up there. Oh, look! Oh, that's Shuriken
Oh,
right up there.
my Shuriken King is upstairs in combined mode, and
And
he
then
is
there's
never coming apart.
the top one is the new Predaking. Yes.
Yeah, I got a few you can probably see in the bookshelf behind me. I got like MP,
Yeah.
Starscream, Prowl, a couple of the others, a couple of G1s, and I got a bunch of them that are like right above me here.
Nice.
This whole office, I'm surrounded by Transformers.
This is the way.
Yeah. Wait. There it is. This is the way.
Hold on.
Oh, see, yeah. Okay, there you go.
Yeah, nobody needed to see my pasty white shoulder, but
Well, I got Zelda, so maybe that'll count. But who's texting me? Jesus. So what about some of your other series? Like I tore through your Cryptid Hunter series
thanks.
and really appreciated it, especially the prequel that came at the end. Are you going to be continuing the series? Is there more coming?
All right, so
And where in the timeline will that fit?
okay, so Crypto Hunters was always meant to be a trilogy, and the trilogy is technically done, but I just recently kind of added a prequel story called Boer War. And I've gotten a lot of people this year because I just put new covers on it, and the covers are giving it brand new life. So I have a lot of people asking me, it's like, hey, we need more cryptid stories. So I'll see. What I can say is this. There is a big spoiler at the end of Boer War, even though Boer War mostly takes place in the 70s with the Crypto Hunter team, and it basically tells you exactly what their next stop is going to be.
Right.
And you know, I'll just give a minor spoiler there. Crypto Hunters takes place in the same world as my High Moon series, which is the girl who punches werewolves and stuff like that. So, Crypto Hunters, I'll say loosely science based. I try to make all of the things that happen in there sound plausible. Regardless of the book. Whereas High Moon is more along the lines of magic, werewolves, people getting their faces ripped off type stuff. Well, okay, both series, people getting their faces ripped off. Let's be honest, but I don't write cozies.
I'm just starting on the Second Savior books, or Second String Savior books, which is why I had asked you previously for the chronological reading order, because I wanted to be able to read them the way they're supposed to.
So Second String Savior, that takes place concurrent with book 3 of Tome, The Morning Woods. But then the next book, well, I don't want to spoil it. The next book mostly takes place concurrent with Holier Than Thou, which is book 4 of Bill. But then things get a little murky.
That's fine. I get murky too. I find it. You might find this interesting, but a former member of our company, who used to write columns for us and stuff, is Andrea Ems, who voiced your audiobook.
Okay. For some reason my brain blanked for 1 second there. And then I was like, oh wait, you know why? I was thinking the Tome Bill books with Chris. But yeah, and Andrea is just great. She is wonderful, so friggin' talented. I don't know how we lucked out and got her.
Yeah, well, she used to write columns and stuff for us back in the day. So I found it funny. I was perusing your books and I came across her name. I was like, holy crap. And look, the circle is complete. Excellent.
Yeah, it's funny how all the people that were always meant to meet end up meeting, just because we're all into the same stuff. It's funny how small the world gets sometimes.
Yeah. What I would love at some point, when time and money allows, one of my books I need to have re-recorded, Sunset Strip, which is basically a Sally-led story in Tome Bill. And the narrator I worked with, she didn't do a terrible job, but she wasn't really right for the character. And at some point, I really do want to redo that book, and I would love to get Andrea on board with that. But
That'd
I
be
know
awesome.
she is busy as can be and such, so we'll
Yeah,
see what
she's
happens.
crazy busy, but yeah, that would
Yeah,
be
I really
awesome.
liked Sally. She was one of my favorite characters.
She
Yeah,
gets better. She gets better throughout the
Cool.
series. It's just
I thought she was really cool.
yeah. Her solo story, is one of those ones I'm really proud of because okay, so I'm not really a big strip club goer. Not really my scene. But there's several scenes in Sunset Strip that take place behind the scenes at a strip club. So I kind of just I modeled it essentially just kind of as a normal workplace. Um, because I was like, a lot of these like places when they show you this, like everything is sex, 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 and I'm like, no, it's just a workplace. People show up, they do their job, they talk, and then they leave. And I have gotten like multiple like compliments from actual strippers who've just been like, holy crap, you're like the first person who's written like a backroom strip club and actually gotten it right.
Oh, that's cool. Right on.
nice. The other partner that we have that does the podcast with us, he managed a strip club for 18 years. So
Yeah, if
yeah,
you ever need any more insight, let us know. We'll hook you and Richard up.
right.
You never know. It's
We have, we have
always good to have contacts.
Yeah.
we have plenty of strippers on speed dial for professional purposes only.
Right.
No, it's not common for me to like go into my my group on Facebook, my reader group, or like my page and just be like, hey guys, does anybody do this for a living? Because I'd like to pick your brain.
Yeah.
Right.
Because the thing with any story is if you put just it doesn't even have to be a lot. If you put just a little modicum of real research realism in there, it just makes the story that much better.
Oh yeah.
Not to
That's why I
mention you
go
also
with
don't
the
have people writing and saying, "Oh, you got this totally wrong, dude."
right. Now, I do that. I write comic books for my company too, and I do the same thing. I'm always like researching and stuff, especially military maneuvers and stuff like that. With all the, I write zombie killing and stuff. So we always research in that way. But
The only time it gets tough is that sometimes you have to have a situation where you know something, but your character does not.
Yeah.
right,
Like I can't tell you like how many like times I've had to write an email from somebody who's been like, oh, you got this wrong. I'm like, yes, I know what a magazine is versus a clip, but Bill doesn't. Bill's never
right,
used a gun before.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
right. And it's fun though to watch that character evolve, like eventually to learn to do stuff like that. Um, now, what are you working on? Any other series right now? Or are you just continuing on
All right,
what you have?
so I got a new thing that I'm working on. I got a couple new things I'm working on. So I just started serializing on Kindle Vella another Tome Bill spinoff called Mike the Werewolf.
Which
Um,
I'm excited for.
and I'm in the process of final editing my very first lit RPG book, which is called Time Chaser.
Hmm.
And it's a long one. Like I serialized that on Royal Road, so if anybody's on Royal Road, you can read it there. But I'm editing it down. I'm cleaning it up. I'm polishing. Might be adding one or two plot points, as because I don't like when I serialize a story. I don't necessarily like to change major plot elements when I then release it as a full story. But
Mhm.
sometimes that's necessary because I'm one of those people that my brain makes connections when I see the whole as opposed to if I'm writing from an outline.
Right.
Like sometimes I'll just go through a story and I'll connect dots and I'll be like, okay, this makes perfect sense. Now I got to like make changes.
Um, how often a day do you put aside for writing?
It depends on the day and depends how much like if I have a full day where nobody's bothering me, I don't have to like, run errands, which is pretty rare. I like to get behind I like to try to keep normal business hours. I'll sit down, maybe around 8:30. I'll try to write until maybe about 11. I'll take about an hour or so to do some marketing stuff, stop for lunch, all of that, and then maybe I'll write until 3 and do a little more, and then do some cleanup work. It's rare to get a day like that. Like right now, as I said, I'm in the process. Excuse me, I got the hiccups. I'm in the process of editing this Time
No.
Chaser book, so that's probably taking up the majority of my day. Is because I want this done and out the door.
Right.
um, you ever get writer's block or stuck on something, and If so, what is your process to try and remove that?
Okay, so I usually have multiple stories going at once.
And do
That's
you
what I
like
was just
fantasy
going to ask.
crime?
Yeah,
Ooh.
that's what I was just going to ask about. Is you have so many books? I know it's just on Audible. I was going to ask you, like, are you working on multiple books at the same time, or?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm usually writing multiple books at the same time. So like I'll just switch off. And basically if my brain gets caught on one, the reason for that is I can switch off to another and usually like, get my word count in.
No, yeah, that's cool. Yeah, that's a really good idea.
Like I don't really get writer's block, but I do get writer's malaise. And it's not so much that I can't write, but it's like I'll have those days where I just don't want to write. Like there's no desire there. And I also know if I force myself, it's going to be crap. So there's all sorts of ways to deal with it. Sometimes, so for example, Bite Force, which is Bill of the Dead 5. Bill of the Dead is the Tome Bill sequel series. I had to put that down and walk away from it because I'm 40,000 words into it, but it just wasn't gelling. I walked away from it. I gave it a little bit of time to percolate in my brain, and now I want to get back to it. Um, sometimes I mean, Boer War, that one I just recently released.
Mm-hmm.
I started that 5 years ago.
Yeah.
I got maybe about 5 chapters into it, and I said, I'm not interested in this anymore. And then last year, I was like, it just hit me. I was like, maybe I should just pull this out and give it a try, and it really came together at that point. Like so, sometimes it's just a case of it's not a story's time to be born or to be
Do
written.
you ever find that, like, I find sometimes, especially with Boer War, I think it was Boer War where you had the two, uh, the female character and her little pimp guy. Is that
Kool-Aid.
right? Kool-Aid, yeah. So I find that I want to see more of that story happen. I want to see more of them going on, or I want to see more of other characters that you have in these stories that aren't. Uh, Most of them are dead because you like to kill some
Well, I
people.
mean, here's the thing:
But,
War, crypto hunters, Bigfoot hunters. These are all horror like
right.
stories at their core, and horror stories. I am not kind to my cast.
I no
When
no
I
no.
start with a cast of
Look,
20 people, 20 people are not making it out of this story.
I, you, this is my comic book artist right here. Is Justin? He'll tell you nobody survives our comic books.
Yeah.
Like, no, we don't. Everyone dies. Fuck them. But there are times where I see like some characters where I'm just like, I wonder what they really intrigue me. I want to see more of that, and I want to see more of Kool-Aid and his girl more go on because like she was starting to get somewhere. You know what I mean? Like her character was starting to get really interesting and really smart, and I wanted to see her independence build more and what would come of that relationship. And I was
Like
bummed out when it didn't happen.
there's
See,
like
I pay attention while reading your book. So there.
good. I am glad to hear that. Like sometimes I know there's details that goes into my story that like nobody but me catches, and I love when other people catch that stuff. But I don't know. I mean, there's always the cheat of like of it's like they wake up in a hospital after a coma like a year after the event type stuff. Usually not a
That's
fan of
the
doing that.
fanfic bullshit, though. Like,
Yeah, I know it really is. And the problem is with doing like a prequel to that is
it's
it like
already a prequel.
well it's already a prequel, but also it's like okay, what am I going to do a story of them just hanging out and doing their own thing? It's like people have asked me, okay, what about doing a build prequel? I'm like, okay, it's a dude. Then he's just a normal dude who plays D&D. Why is that interesting?
Right. Yeah. His story didn't start until
Yeah,
he became a vampire. There
Right.
wasn't much
exactly.
to tell. Yeah.
Yeah,
Look how he's playing Space and Invaders again.
but no, that's exactly the thing. Like I like even if people hate me for killing off characters, um, I love the concept that people are like, I wanted to see more of this because that's what I want. Because if you want to see more of a character, that tells me that I did my job and I made the character at least real enough where you're like, okay, I want to see what's going to happen next with this person.
Right.
I really wanted to see the facility that you made that girl clean out. The place sounded cool. I was like picturing myself in there, like, hey, just hang out
The
there
Kool-Aid
and smoke and
Chalet.
read. Just hang out, smoke out a little bit, enjoy life.
Well, see, that was the fun thing about writing that story because I serialized that story on Kindle Vella first.
Uh-huh.
And whenever I would hit us up, like whenever I would hit a block in that story, I would do one of two things. It would either be an interlude chapter where it's like, okay, we're going to meet somebody else in the town and they're going to get killed by the pigs, because you always need those in a horror story. Or I would be like, okay, we need to jump to Kool-Aid and Charlene and see what they're up to,
Right.
because they were just really easy to write because I was having a lot of fun with them.
And also, that whole series would make a good graphic novel adaptation. Like I want to see the Thunderbirds. I want to see all the different interpretations of the stuff in there, except for the second book.
Devil Hunters.
Huh?
Devil Hunters.
Yeah, because that book wasn't right. That book wasn't right.
Oh no, it was that.
Okay,
Like,
that book wasn't okay.
Well, no, I was, in fact, I was talking to my co-writer on False Icons, Rachel, and I was telling her, she was like, "Oh, I really enjoyed Boer War. I should read the rest of your Crypto Hunter books." I was like, "Yeah, you might want to skip Devil Hunters. It might be a bit much for you."
Maybe watch Deliverance first, or The Hills Have Eyes, and then take a read into this book. And yeah,
Like I think my favorite reviews for Boer War have people have been saying, something, this is like basically a B movie in book format, and I'm like, exactly, that is 100% what it was meant to be.
And you won't want
review.
You don't want a ham and egg omelet after that, Justin.
No.
You don't want bacon. Nothing. You don't want to eat.
No, there's plenty of cheese in that story, and I am well aware.
That's a good blurb to have on your book for sure.
You don't want bacon?
No, a B movie in novel form. Yeah.
Right, there you go. So yeah, where do you get influences for a lot of your stories? I know by seeing your social media stuff that you're just a big ass geek like we are. How has all of that influenced you in writing these stories, if at all?
I mean, a lot of that does make its way into it. Like I try to always have an Easter egg. Like I think it's in 90% of my books with the phrase "more than meets the eye."
Mm-hmm.
I always try to slip that in whenever I can. Outside of that, I mean, inspiration can come from anywhere. Like I'm a big history buff, and I've been aware of the actual historical event Boer War or the Boer War, and ever since I was a kid in grade school, I was like, why hasn't somebody made a B movie about this? Just literally called this
Right.
about killer pigs. Like there's been killer pig movies. Like there's Razorback. There's a couple others.
Right.
And, this is an obvious title. Why is nobody? Fine, screw it. I'll do it myself.
Funny how Company of the Wolf was a Boer movie, wasn't it?
What's that?
Was that what it was called? Company of the Wolf, the one that was all French?
Yeah.
For martial arts film, yeah, but it was about.
Oh no, you're thinking of Brotherhood. You're thinking of Brotherhood of the Wolf.
Yeah,
Brotherhood of the Wolf, right?
Yeah.
That it was about a boar. It was called Wolf.
But I mean, you know what it really comes down to is I have a lot of ideas that pop into my head at various times, and if an idea is stuck in my head for more than a couple days, then there's a good chance it's going to be, that something's going to happen with it. I have plenty of ideas where it sounds great today, and then tomorrow I wake up, I'm like, no, that was dumb. So I always like to let things percolate for a little bit.
I'm waiting for the mech horror book that you're gonna write.
Reign of Giants. I need to get. I'm about 10,000 words into that. I really do need to get back to that.
That sounds.
You did a good job with your kaiju book, but I need a mech warrior giant monster kaiju beating the crap out of people book.
Yeah,
I need Pacific Rim, but
well, that's the thing. The story I'm working on for not Free Will Press. That's my company for Falstaff Books. It's called Reign of Giants, and it's basically kind of I got the idea from I was watching Pacific Rim, and I was like, what if this happened a little bit differently? And that's pretty much where that story came from. In fact, there's another one that I finished for them called The Wings of God, which is kind of it's my own version of a fantasy techno thriller. So that should be hopefully that comes out at some point soon.
Right on.
All right, so you play D&D, collect Transformers.
Yep.
Are those active hobbies, right?
Mostly, I gotta be honest. So I'm on a podcast called Authors and Dragons,
Right.
and I've been on this podcast for 8 years, and we play D&D badly. We have a good time, and I gotta say, it has ruined me for playing a straight game of D&D, like just a straight heroic game. Like I'm a little burnt out, or I'm just not super interested in doing that. I'm like, when I show up to play D&D these days, I want to have fun. And if the other characters are more like, oh no, we're doing heroics, it's not really going to work too well.
Right.
Um, so I'm slightly burnt out on that. Transformers, I will say the main thing with Transformers is Transformers are freaking expensive as hell these days.
Thank
So
you.
yeah. So I collect them as I can, but it's not a very often thing.
What other active hobbies do you have? What do you collect? Anything else? Do you go to conventions, stuff like
Yeah,
that?
yeah. I mean, I like going to like conventions as an author. Um, I'm not a fan of like going to Comic Con just like to hang out. It's a little too peoply for me.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I like doing fan conventions. I like getting at tables, meeting readers, stuff like that.
Hmm.
Um, I'm I mean I wrote Bigfoot Hunters. I'm a cryptid nerd. I always find that stuff fascinating. Even like even the more out there stuff.
Right.
Big fan of the paranormal. Uh, just to, like for anybody like look and go, oh, he's one of those people. No, I'm a skeptic at heart.
You're a ghost hunter,
Yeah,
aren't you?
yeah, but I'm not one of those ones who like who walks in and is like, I feel the air feels very heavy here. No, I'm one of those ones where somebody's like, no, I think I heard something in the attic. Okay, did you check for raccoons?
Right.
Right.
Because let me
And are
like
they ghost raccoons?
yeah, because I have kids and pets here, and let me tell you, if this place was haunted, I would never know it. Because so a couple of years back, I was hearing this weird noise in the basement at intermittent times. This weird rumbling sound. At first, I thought it was maybe the washing machine going. Nope, it would go off when the washing machine wasn't on. I'd go downstairs, there'd be nothing out of place. I was literally starting to think, okay, this is something paranormal. Until one day I went downstairs and it happened right next to me, and I turned and we had this cardboard box downstairs that was just kind of like leaning against something, and one of our stupid cats would sharpen his claws against his cardboard box, which would make it like rattle against the wall and just make this horrific sound. It was like, okay, mystery
Nice.
solved.
Right. Um, Video games,
Yeah,
movies.
I like first person shooters. I am always up for watching movies, whether they're like superhero movie. Here's the thing, I like movies that are a little bit fantastic. So it's horror. I like fantasy. I like superheroes. All of that stuff. I don't want to watch.
What's the
I don't want to watch like a lifetime drama. I could look if I want to be miserable. I could just watch the news.
Right.
what's the latest good movie that you saw?
So I saw Deadpool and Wolverine in the theaters. Funny movie. Uh, Definitely not one you want to leave your brain on for, because it the writer in me was like having a stroke at certain points of this, but it's funny. Uh,
Right
and
on.
anime too. Like I like anime. I will say this: we have like weird taste. Like everybody in this house kind of likes anime, but we all like our own certain kind.
Hmm.
My wife likes the romances and stuff. My daughter, she kind of goes back and forth with romances to action. I like batshit anime. Something like a Baki Hamna. That's just you can just watch and just smirk because it's just completely off the wall.
um, any cool TV series? Anything you're watching? Fallout? Anything like that?
I did watch Fallout. Had a good time with that. That was really good. Um, I very much like The Boys. That was always fun, and I love the fact that sometimes they just go purposely overboard with the splatter effects, and it's just
Right.
always glorious.
Yeah.
Um, I like when stories go there. I mean, one of my favorite scenes I think was from season 2 where Um, I forget her name, but the the mute woman, she grabs some guy's face and she literally just rips it off, and I just love that effect. I was like,
Right.
that is great. I live for special effects like that.
Hold on. Yeah.
Now, when the dude had shrunk down and was inside the uterine walls and then sneezed
Yep.
and blew up, I was done at that point. I was like, okay, they cannot outdo this part. That's okay.
See, I'm one of those people. I don't really get
Okay.
grossed out by by practical effects. Like I love watching a movie like Peter Jackson's Dead Alive, just
Right.
because it's
No.
just full of
Your mother
buckets of
ate
blood
my
and
dog.
gore.
Yeah. No, I know. I love that stuff too. And yes. But sometimes when it comes to your junk,
You know something? If yeah, I will admit there are some of practical effect or some effects like that. You look and you can feel them from the screen, and those are a little
what was it?
painful.
Bonesaw Tomahawk. Yeah, I'm okay.
I was
Eyeball
kind of
Claw.
feeling,
Yeah, no.
I was kind of feeling that way. We just went and saw Alien Romulus, and there's a point where somebody's getting eaten with the alien the acid blood, and they did a really good job of showing it on skin, like I'd never seen it before, and I was just like, "Whoa, that is pretty raunchy." But yeah, it was a really good shot.
Yeah, I very much appreciate that. Like
Yeah,
stuff like that.
yeah.
Um, and I mean, it doesn't even have to be good special effects. Like one of my favorite movies is Story of Ricky,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
I just love that they just have so many garbagey blood effects of people just
right.
getting their faces ripped off and stuff.
Well, that movie's great, man.
Story of Rick E. Mm-hmm.
I don't just like it because it's a
It's your
cool title,
namesake.
it's a cool name.
Right. Convenient.
No, I mean
um,
like Asian cinema. I loved how Asian cinema is just completely off the wall sometimes. Um, like
well,
I love when there's like like it's like, hey, it's like, here's some movie called Machine Gun Girls. Okay.
Right.
have some Itchy the Killer, why don't you? There
Yes.
you go.
In fact, I watched that again maybe about a week and a half ago.
Yeah, I used to love all their old horror stuff. Ringu versus what was the other ones? Was it Suicide High School?
Volcano High
Audition,
School.
huh?
Volcano High School. Is that
That's
what
it. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Audition. Audition was messed up. Have you ever seen Audition?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Wait, Audition, is that the one where at the end the girl saws off the guy's leg with a wire?
Yeah.
Okay.
You should
Yeah.
like that. Yeah.
That was one of those effects where like you described, where I'm like watching that and I'm going, I feel this. Ugh.
Right. Right.
Right.
Now checking your leg just in case. You're like, okay. Okay. Yeah. Nah, I grew up loving that stuff. All the Ring movies, oh, fantastic. I love that kind of stuff. But I think we've taken up way too much of your time. Um,
Take up as much time as you want. Especially since just for anybody like tuning in. I was late. I totally screwed up my we got company in the house, and one of my reminders didn't go off, and oh God, I just cannot apologize enough for that.
Oh no, that's
okay,
cool.
then fine,
Go
sir.
ahead.
Holy Grail Transformer.
Holy Grail Transformer. Oh, I mean, I have all 5 original Dinobots. That was the old Holy Grail. I'm like the Dinobots are by far my favorites.
Agreed.
Trying to think I guess who I don't have. I don't have any sound waves,
Oh,
and I don't know how that happened.
he's my favorite.
Yeah,
I have
I mean, I don't collect him or anything, but Soundwave's always been my favorite.
like I will say probably my favorite that I have. Beast Wars Transmetal 2 Megatron. the one who transforms into into the Red Dragon.
Mhm.
It's a super complex transformation. It's a great figure. Um, it like I just absolutely love that one.
Right on.
I want to get I very badly want a Unicron.
You mean one of the $500 like Hasbro Labs ones? Because
No, 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 no.
I do have an Armada Unicron up there.
I had an Armada one. I had the black and gray one, and but my apartment burned down at one point, and I'd lost everything, all my Transformers and stuff from growing up. So I had to restart my collection. Um, so now I stuck mostly with combiners, but uh, I still want either the HasLab or the Studio Cell Unicron. Um, and the Studio Cell one sells one called Overmind, and that's the dark colors. And I would love one of those.
Yeah, I don't have any place to put. Like, I would love that too, but I don't have any place to put him.
I figured out. If
Almost
I
need
bought
its own
three of
room.
them, if I bought three of them, I can put a table on top of him, and he can hold the table up, and that's where we eat dinner from now on.
Yeah, because I have a Titans Return Triptychon down in my basement just because I could not find a place. And part of that is my fault. So you'll notice there's a lot of foot traffic behind me.
Mhm.
I used to have my own office upstairs, but my youngest and my middle son, they were sharing room, and they were getting a little annoying about it. So finally, I was just like, okay, I'm gonna move my stuff downstairs. I'm gonna take a corner in the hallway as my writing space, and I gave him my office. But as a result, I lost about I'd lost about 80% of my space.
Right.
I'm pretty much a vagabond in my own house.
That's why you kick the kids out and make room for the toys. That's what you got to do at some point.
At some point, I don't think it's gonna happen. Like my two youngest are special needs, so they're pretty much never leaving.
That's true. Um, well, I don't know. Justin, do you have anything you want to talk to him about?
No, just no, it was cool to talk to you. I really like the book. I'm looking forward to the next ones and looking forward to checking out the crypto books AJ was telling me about. So yeah, I was he told me that he had this interview set up. So I was like, well, shit, I haven't read anything. So I went on to Audible and I was like, what should I read first? He's like, start with Build a Vampire. I was like, okay. And then, like I said, they had that deal where I went to go get the book with my credit, and they had to deal with the collection for one credit. Like, oh, sweet. So yeah, I picked that up. So yeah, I just finished it earlier this week. I'm gonna get started on the next one.
Awesome.
See, they're pimping you out cheaply.
Hey, as something at the end of the day, as long as people are still picking them up and all that stuff, that's what counts. Interesting bit of trivia with Bigfoot Hunters before we end, though, is that book started as a movie script originally, and the reason for that is at the time I was watching a lot of those really garbagey Sci-Fi Channel Bigfoot horrors. Like, you go into Amazon Prime, there's like a dozen, and each one is worse than the last.
Right.
And I was like, why is it so hard to get this right? Why is it so hard to make Bigfoot scary? I mean, a giant 10-foot ape in the woods, that sounds pretty terrifying to me. And Bigfoot Hunters literally started off as a spite project of me saying, I can do this better.
My amusement is going from the turd throwing Bigfoots in Bill to these guys, and then I had just read the Bigfoot book by Max Brooks.
The Evolution.
Yeah, so now I've got all them. Like, so which one? Who's Harry Nuts am I reading about today? Like, which one's going on? But I did like I said, the second book.
Yep. Devil Hunters.
Yeah. The old rednecks in the woods. Man.
I went to some dark places with that book. I will freely admit.
Because now here I am thinking I'm getting books about like cryptids, and I'm all like, "Ooh, look, the Jersey Devil. Let's check this." No, fucking House of a Thousand Corpses.
Well, I mean, okay. So the thing with the Jersey Devil is I wanted to come up with a plausible explanation for the Jersey Devil, because the Jersey Devil as a cryptid, like in New Jersey, it's a little ridiculous, because
Right.
literally there's like the entire lore is basically like, oh hey, it looked like this. Next sighting, it looked completely different. Next sighting, it looked completely different, and it's like it. Like I even addressed that in the book where they're like, yeah, it's kind of a joke amongst cryptozoologists. Um, so the challenge for me was how to make it plausible and how to make it terrifying.
I
And
love, and not to give too much away. I don't know if this is spoiling it or not, but I love the the guys that they're under. The TV show. I love that aspect of it. I think that's very clever way of using it and going into the so much so that I really want to see this as a TV show. You know what I mean?
me too.
Right. I mean, and if it happens, 10% pimp free right here. I just mentioned.
Hey,
Um,
you hooked me with somebody at Netflix and you got it.
but I think it'd be cool, like to see the behind the scenes and all. I think it'd just be a cool cover
Well,
story.
and also, I mean, and also the thing is, in as a series like that, because it's implied in the series, in the trilogy, all the adventures they went on that you really haven't seen.
Right. Well, plus I want to know what happened with the ship. The ship at the end of Kraken.
Oh,
Yeah,
Kraken Hunters.
Yeah. Like
There
I
will.
want to see
Okay,
the other
okay,
universe,
okay.
dude.
So
You
there
brought
will.
in the multiverse. You got to bring in you got to tell the whole
There.
story.
I promise. Assuming I don't get hit by a bus, which I probably just jinxed myself. But yes, there will be a resolution to that. Um, because, like as I said, Crypto Hunters takes place in the same world as one of my other series, and little by little, like for anybody who's read both those series, you see little by little that there's little bits of crossover happening here and there, like like names and locations for one are mentioned in the other, uh,
Very cool.
and that's not by accident.
Right.
Right on.
Oh, awesome. I'll be expecting it soon, please. Thank you so much for coming on the show and allowing us to interview you and harass you, and talking about your all the cool stuff that you're doing. I'm a huge fan and a big proponent of you and your writing and everything that you put out there. So,
I really
yeah.
appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah, it's really nice talking to you, man. It's nice meeting you.
Likewise.
Cool.
And if you guys ever want to do this again, let me know, and I will. I will give you my number so you can text me and be like, "Where the hell are you, dude?"
So yeah, so for Rick and Justin, thank you everybody for tuning into the PanelCast, and we'll say goodbye and we'll see you guys on the next episode.
Take it easy.
Thanks.